she just changed. She was very serious, which is kind of rare for kids. She didn't really like to engage in play, and it was really hard to get a good laugh or a smile out of her. And mostly that she was nonverbal. She wasn't speaking at all. She was humming, and we were all frustrated because she was trying to communicate what she needed and couldn't get it across to us, and we were trying to, help her, and we couldn't understand what it is she needed. So those changes were really hard. I'm Andrea Zaragoza. I'm Mireya. Mireya was diagnosed with autism about a month or so after she turned 2, and we were in Washington, D.C. at the time, living there, and we really struggled to find care for her. And it was really confusing and hard because we didn't know much about autism at the time or the care that she needed.
My name is Salazar, and I have the honor of being Mireya's grandmother.
And I'm Ken. I'm her husband and Mireya's grandfather. It was a struggle learning about autism and finding the right place, and then Firefly Autism came into our life. Just by coincidence, the conversation she had brought us to Diane, Osaki. And for me, I will always remember that first meeting with Diane.
We brought Mireya back to Colorado so she could see her dad, and just happened to squeeze in an appointment with Diane. And she came to our home, and she walked in and she introduced herself and everything. And then she sat on the floor and started playing with Mireya in a way I'd never seen anybody be able to do with her. And now we knew immediately, okay, our DC venture is over, and now we're moving back to Denver.
We came back, and we started Mireya in May with at-home therapy with the Early Start Denver model.
Alta Vista Center for Autism, we hadn't done the rebranding just yet. So she and Mireya came back, and she began to help them out with fundraisers and started dragging me to fundraisers. So that's how I became familiar with Firefly.
And we've known Jesse for years through mutual friends, Jim and Gloria. Jesse we'd come home from DC, and Jesse would say, "Come on, let's go eat lunch." I said, "Well, I have Mireya." He says, "Well, bring her, we'll just take her with us." And we'd go, and Jesse, big, tall Jesse, and Mireya at that time was maybe 3, maybe 4 years old. And there was music playing in the entrance of that restaurant. And she wanted to dance with him, and he'd think twice. He starts dancing with her at the restaurant, everybody's looking at us, and it's like, hey, we're having a good time.
I think after her 3rd birthday is when she started at Firefly half day in preschool, and it was amazing for her. It set her foundation for her growth and her education and everything she's accomplished. We started using sign language, and so that was kind of her first language after she'd lost her speech, and it just changed our world, being able to communicate.
That person gets to start communicating who they are, the things that they need, their own individuality, and that educates society as a whole. So then you're talking about, if you teach one person how to communicate, you can essentially impart knowledge about autism on a society as a whole.
Play with her at different times, and she would laugh. And we have videos of her old therapy sessions where at first she was so serious and just like, she didn't want to play and she wasn't interested. And then once she was there and playing, it started going like that at home too. It's just really awesome to see those videos where she's laughing and doing puzzles and like just things that, neurotypical kids usually do.
I remember when he was working at another place, right? Having a conversation about how difficult it was to access the services you needed for someone like Mireya. It needed to move to a whole other echelon of possibilities.
He said, "Jesse, you've seen the difference in Mireya. You've seen what they've done. They need help." So I joined Firefly August the 1st of 2013. About a year later, I stepped into the role as executive director. It's been a journey, but a good journey.
Her and I would start playing. We had these like magnets on the refrigerator that it was like a little farmhouse, and there was a little cow, and you would put the cow in and press it, and it would make a sound. And she didn't want to be like super close or like touched right away. So I remember we were putting the cow in and putting like the horse in, and she came and just like stood right next to me with our shoulders touching. And that felt really special because I hadn't got to get that close to her in a very long time.
Mi nombre, ¿cómo te llamas? Mireya Salazar.
Our Mireya can talk. She not only speaks English and Spanish and sign. You know, I don't speak that many languages, you know, so, I mean, she's been able to show us and teach us that, yeah, she started out here and ended up going as low as we thought we could all go, and then look where she is now. Firefly changed not only Mireya's lives, but our lives.
You know, in the pandemic, it's been hard for everybody, right? The hardest time, I think, the worst hard time, if you will, that we've been in for probably a century. And for children with autism and developmental disabilities to have a place that could help them through this time of crisis, I think, is a testament to the great spirit that is in the middle of the school.
It's a new time for Firefly. It's amazing that we were able to walk into a very, very dark time that this world hadn't seen in generations. And I always tell people, through the darkness, Firefly continued to be a beacon of light. We want to take care of each other. That's why we, as an organization, went above and beyond our scope of work and hosted vaccination clinics.
What I like to say is that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a country to raise a child with developmental disability. It galvanizes the relationship that we have as a member of the community in ways that otherwise may be hidden or harder to see, but it's really potent when you see somebody who is in need.
If you care about humans, which I think everybody does, then you care about Firefly's mission and Firefly's goal. Because Firefly is that organization where, yes, the clients are at the heart of everything that we do. But it's not just the clients, it's our staff, it's our teams, it's the family unit of Firefly as a whole and what that means and who that reaches.
You know, I always tell everybody, you know, when we're working with one child, we're impacting an entire community. We've got a home where we can continue to innovate the way autism is looked at, to break down those stereotypes, to help people understand that autism is a different way of being.
Today, walking through the halls of Firefly, it's to me incredible how much Firefly does to help children with autism, and just giving people hope that otherwise would be hopeless. So it's an amazing school with amazing leadership, and really a prototype for the United States of America and the world in terms of how they deal with people with autism.